UK, more than 600 lawyers and academics have signed a letter to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak voicing concern about Israel's war on Gaza. They're calling for the British government to suspend the provision of weapons to Israel, saying the UK is in breach of international law. They also call on the government to work actively towards an immediate and permanent ceasefire and to stress that position through the UN Security Council. And they say the UK must urgently impose sanctions on senior members of the Israeli government who've made statements inciting genocide. We can now speak to Goodwin-Gill. He's one of the signatories. He's an emeritus professor of international refugee law at the University of Oxford. But you're joining us today from Ottawa in Canada, sir. Welcome to Al Jazeera. I suppose the first, most obvious question to you is why you signed this letter.
I signed it because I've been involved in Gaza issues for many years, but in particular, I was moved by the forthright and simple statements issued in this letter, which call upon the UK to live up to its obligations under the Geneva Convention, under the Genocide Convention in particular. And those obligations are clear and straightforward. All states must do whatever they can to prevent the commission of genocide.
So let me ask you.
It seems to me.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
What I wanted to ask you is, could the UK's support then to Israel make the UK itself complicit in this genocide?
Yes, it could do. If it doesn't cancel arms sales, for example, it risks being complicit in the act of genocide. There's a serious risk of genocide, as the International Court of Justice has found. And if the UK, with that knowledge in mind, carries on exporting arms to Israel, then there's a risk that those arms will be used in the conduct of aggressive activities by Israel and the conduct of genocide. It's the risk that's important. And the risk must be factored into account, taken into account now, and arms sales must cease.
Direct arms sales, however, to Israel from the UK, they're pretty small compared to the US. So if the UK were to take this decision to stop selling arms sales, do you think it would be anything more than symbolic?
I do think it would be more than symbolic. I think it would be send a clear message to other states as well that this is something that needs to be done and should be done if states wish to not to be found complicit in the act of genocide. I think it is going to be more than symbolic. It's going to be a very important lever for other states to take into account when pressing on the United States, amongst others, to change their policy.
What is your understanding as a signatory to this letter as to how seriously the UK government will be taking this?
I think they will take it seriously. They have had under review the process of supplying arms to Israel in the past weeks and months. I think this might be the additional spur that's needed to get them to take a decision to stop sales.
And talk to us about the significance of this, because not only has it been signed by hundreds of signatories like yourself, but also by senior retired judges who some say normally shy away from commenting publicly on such political issues.
I think that's right. I think one should not underestimate the power of the lobby, if you like. That they are moved by the situation. They are moved by the legal considerations. They're all lawyers. And as you said, there are senior former judges involved in this case, in signing this letter. And they, too, are moved by the power of the arguments which have been raised in the letter, requiring, commanding, dictating that the arms sales be ceased if the UK is to avoid complicity in genocide.
All right, Goodwin-Gill, thank you so much for speaking to us from Ottawa.